Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking the video. It means a lot to you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And it's the day before finale. I'm so excited. I am absolutely so excited because this season we have a person coming into the finale that would be a sound winner, a player that we all agree deserves to win the game, especially after last round in Jesse. It's just a matter of will it happen? Now, in this video, I'm going to go through all of the scenarios for the end game. What if Jesse goes at 5? What if Carla goes at 5? Hell, what if Gabler goes at 5? We have no idea, but what we can do is plan out scenarios and also plan out, in a final 3 scenario, who gets the most votes. On top of that, is there going to be a crazy twist at 5? We have no idea. There's just so much different things to talk about here, so let's just preview the entire finale. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps the channel out. Okay, so I think the first thing to talk about here is this thing at 5, this advantage, right? Because we do assume, I think, at least for me, I'm personally assuming that the twist at 5 is the same that it's been for the past few seasons, where it's an advantage for the last immunity challenge. So I think it's going to give whoever finds it, which we do think is Gabler based on the previews, at least, it's going to give that person an advantage at the final 5 challenge, which could be big. I mean, if this is Carla, then it could make or break her game, as obviously Carla needs to win this 5 challenge, because I don't think Carla has a very good shot of making it through this round without an idol or a necklace. And she played her idol last round, which kind of leaves her, really at the mercy of the other 4 players. We could see like a Ricard like a boot, where it's just the obvious target has to go home here because they lost the challenge. So I think Carla has to win this. If Carla doesn't, then we now have our scenario 1 where Carla goes at 5. Now from here, I do think a final 4 of Jesse, Gabler, Owen, and Cassidy is very interesting. I think Jesse beats everybody here. In fact, not only beats them, but gives them an ass whooping. I mean, I think Jesse beats everybody here. Carla's a little bit harder, but if it's Cassidy, Owen, or Gabler at the end, I think Jesse beats them. So Jesse is target number 1. And then if someone like Gabler here wins the challenge, then he's probably going to put Jesse up against Owen or Cassidy, and I think Jesse could fare well, right? We don't know how good he is at fire, but we do know that nobody's probably going to beat Gabler at fire here at the end, which kind of leaves Jesse in a bad spot here, because if Cassidy or Owen, wins at fire, I don't really see them taking Jesse to the end with him, and they're probably going to put Jesse against a player like Gabler, who's very good at fire here, leaving Jesse basically to go home at 4 and be the robbed god. And so I think, again, here, it really does come down to, in this scenario, who wins this final 4 challenge. If it's Gabler or Jesse, Jesse's all good. If it's Cassidy or Owen, not really as much. Now, I think, as I said, if Jesse or Gabler wins here and Jesse gets to the end, I do see Jesse winning in a landslide. Whether it's versus Cassidy and Owen, Cassidy, Gabler, Gabler, Owen, it really doesn't matter. I think Jesse does win here in almost all of those scenarios. But what I don't see really as certain is the Cassidy, Owen, and Gabler possibility. And really, these 2 are very likely here, because I do think Carla goes at 5. Obviously, we'll play out these scenarios where she doesn't and she gets to the end or to the 4. But I do think that if Carla goes out at 5, which is most likely, then it's going to be one of these cases. And the case where it's Cassidy, Gabler, and Owen is extremely likely. I do think that Cassidy has a really good shot here. People think that Owen has a good shot just because he has friends on the jury, but at the end of the day, he's played an inferior game to everyone on the season. I mean, on paper, he has only voted right twice. The first vote of the season with Mariah, and then last round. Every other vote in between has been an absolute failure for him. Failure after failure, and that's not a good look on paper. I get that he's a more likable character maybe than Cassidy, with Carla kind of flipping on Cassidy, her own ally, but I just think in the end the jury will have to at least look at the game for a second, and when they do, that's going to be tough for Owen to stomach his game, to represent himself with his game. It's not a very proud game. You know, it's not necessarily a game to be proud of. Then when you shift your focus to Cassidy, I mean, the people in my comments who are like the Cassidy stans, they'll die for Cassidy. They think that her moves, I really, the only two that I've seen, you know, the only two arguments for a move, you know, Cassidy has made a move are as follows. Number one, that she hasn't gotten voted out yet. Okay, that's obviously ridiculous. Anyways, continuing on with things that make any sense. Okay, so the other one that I've seen is that she's outlasted Ryan, her arch nemesis, which to me, one, it's not really her arch nemesis, at least from what we saw. Even if it is, it's Ryan. Ryan's a horrible player at the game. He is not anything to flex on. To me, these two quote-unquote moves are not actually moves, but rather just playing the game and navigating the game like anybody else who gets through the game. So to me, Cassidy also doesn't really have a great game on paper, which leaves Gabler. Like, Gabler has played the best game here on paper. But at the end of the day, I mean, you look at a season like 21 with Sash, Fabio, and Chase. I mean, you could make an argument that on paper, Sash's game was the best, but no one likes Sash. I mean, you, the viewer, didn't even like Sash. And even though we all knew that him and Brenda kind of ran the game together at least, and he at least had an argument to be made for why he should win, everybody just disregarded him as an absolute GOAT. And that's because nobody really liked him that much. It's like, you do have to be liked here. And Owen has that going for him, and I really don't see Cassidy having that for her. And that is the biggest issue here. Although, I will say Cassidy's edit here is very Erica-like, and that is scary because Erica's won the game, and we really only have a few examples to go off of in this new era. All right, so to close out this first scenario, let's go through the jury votes for Cassidy, Gabler, and Owen. Okay, so we start out with Janine. I think Janine is up in the air because she was on the first tribe with Owen, which is definitely curious. I do think that she's going to eventually swing over to Cassidy here on the jury, so I'm going to go with my gut here and say that Janine votes Cassidy. I do think that she wants to see a female winner, and that could lead to her swaying her vote to Cassidy. I think James is a pretty clear Cassidy vote with, you know, him being in that cohort with her and Carla. So now it's to Cassidy. I think Ryan could swing to Gabler. I think I'm just going to assume for this practice, though, that he goes to Owen. I think Owen would get votes here, Gabler not really as much, as Gabler isn't respected as a player in the game. Although all of these votes for Owen could go to Gabler here. You really just don't know until you see the jury and how they're feeling. So I'm going to say that Ryan goes Owen. I think Noelle probably also goes Owen. Sammy's up in the air. I think Sammy's going to follow what Carla does, and I think Carla is going to vote for Cassidy. So I think Sammy and Carla are both Cassidy votes. I think Cody is for Owen in that Owen camp, and I think Jesse's a swing vote. I think he probably swings with his friend Cody and goes for Owen. It's now a tie, and I do think Gabler breaks the tie and goes for Owen here. Now, if all of these Owen votes are for Gabler, and it's Owen who's breaking the tie, I don't know if he's so sure to vote for Gabler to win the game. He could go Cassidy. It's up in the air here, but what we do know is that it's definitely a close vote, and we definitely know that Cassidy has a very good shot of pulling this one off. Okay, and the second scenario that I want to look at is if Carla wins at 5. Could happen. Let's see what goes down. So I think at 5, it's almost a locked Cassidy boot here. Carla and Cassidy are at odds. On top of that, we see Jesse with an idol, and if Carla wins immunity, I don't see them voting out Owen or Gabler, who are kind of at this point considered not GOATs, but definitely not threats to win the game by large margins. So I do think that it's going to be Cassidy here. They would like Jesse, but Jesse has the idol, and I don't see Jesse messing up this play for the idol. So I do see it being most likely a Cassidy vote. From here at 4, it's really up in the air. I'm going to assume that Carla keeps winning, but it could very, very likely be an Owen, Gabler, or Jesse win. If Carla wins, she puts Gabler probably, I guess, against Jesse, because she wants Gabler to take out Jesse, kind of like Gabler, the ex-military guy who's very good at fire, taking out the big threat. And I think Gabler probably would win that fire making challenge. From there, I think Carla has a pretty easy time at the end. It's Gabler and Owen and her. I think she dominates that. The other scenario at 4 is that someone like maybe an Owen wins. Now, I think in this case, the two biggest threats are still in the game and have no power, and they need to be taken out. So I think for that to happen, Owen puts them together in fire. Jesse probably beats Carla and ends up winning at the end of the game. Now, I do also just lastly want to run a one-on-one end game here between Jesse and Carla at the end, because I do think it's worth doing. I'm not gonna have a third because I do want to avoid kind of taking away a vote from one of the people. So going through this jury, I think Janine, probably a Carla vote here. James, Carla. Ryan, I think is a Jesse vote. Noel, Jesse. Sammy, Jesse. Cody, Jesse. Cassidy, Carla. And now that's 4-3 with Jesse having the advantage. From here, I think the last vote, the last two votes really, both Mike and Owen will go to Jesse. And I do think Jesse beats Carla at the end here. And to me, that's about everything here. There's so many different possibilities, scenarios. This finale seems to be dynamic. I don't know what's going to happen. I really am hoping for not a Cassidy win, but we'll see. I've been disappointed with worse games. I think Erica's game is probably worse. So again, we'll see. But what do you think? Who goes out at 5-4 and who is the winner? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm just a regular guy speaking to a microphone. That's what I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.